Happy holidays to you from me in the Hack Shack right here in Los Angeles. My name is Johnny and this is the Horror Hack. With Christmas coming up, I wanted to get in the spirit and watch some classic holiday movies. No, not It's a Wonderful Life or Christmas Story. There isn't enough murder in those. So I upgraded and I watched the entire Silent Night, Deadly Night franchise. 6 films filled with murder, sex, booze, spontaneous human combustion, and giant cockroaches. Just what I wanted for Christmas. So sit by the fire, enjoy some hot cocoa, or in my case, a nice refreshing glass of whiskey, and let me take you through what could possibly be the most strangest franchise ever, Silent Night, Deadly Night. So let's kick things off with the original Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. The storyline goes something like this. Poor Billy Boy at the age of 8 witnesses his parents brutally murdered at the side of the road by Santa. Yes, his parents thought it would be a great idea to stop for a man in a Santa suit when they see that his car has been broken down at the side of the road really late at night. Dude, no. These parents must not be into horror because I think we all know how this scenario is gonna end for these guys. If I see a guy standing in any kind of suit by a broken down car late at night, I'm gonna zoom right by that son of a bitch and feel good about it. I might even give him the finger to add insult to injury, you know? Just like, not today, Satan! Sorry, YouTube. Probably shouldn't do that. That was such a dumb bit, but I'm probably gonna keep it in anyway. So now that his parents got hacked up by Santa, Billy and his little brother, who was a baby at the time of the murder, have to go to a Catholic orphanage. Now, if you can imagine, growing up in this place sucks. The mother superior there is an abusive old bag that thinks physical punishment is a good thing. Fast forward 10 years later, where Billy is now a strapping young man who gets a job at a local toy store stocking shelves. Billy is asked by his manager to become the store Santa for the holiday season. You know, kids sit on his lap, the whole bit. Imagine the years of abuse he took, and now Billy has to become the one thing that brutally murdered his parents. Cheers, Billy, I'm sorry. It's a downward spiral for Billy, taking revenge and punishing all the naughty people of the world. I love this movie. I think one thing they did right was show the progression of abuse that Billy obtained since he was a little kid all the way through 18 years old. You understand why our villain is so messed up, and let's be honest, we're all rooting for Billy because you want to see some carnage by Santa, damn it. There are some good kills in this one too. My favorite would have to be during an unfortunate sledding accident, and I'll just leave it at that. I also like that our Santa is this good-looking, blonde-haired, baby-faced kid. Like, he's only 18 years old. Most of the killers I see in horror movies look more like those backwoods hillbillies from Wrong Turn or something. Silent Night, Deadly Night is by far the best film of the franchise, and it sets us up perfectly for a sequel, so let's get into that. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 from 1987 is the sequel and was released 3 years after the original. We start out many years later from the first movie on Christmas Eve with Ricky Caldwell, the 18-year-old brother of Billy, in a mental institution. Ricky is being interviewed by psychiatrist Dr. Bloom about the murders of his brother Billy. Now, Ricky was just a baby when Billy went on his murdering rampage, so he must have been told in vivid detail about how these murders happened and everything at some point. I don't know. Now, Ricky escapes the mental institution and is set on doing something his brother Billy failed to do, and that's to kill Mother Superior, the abusive old nun from the Catholic orphanage. Now, I don't recommend watching Silent Night, Deadly Night and then Part 2 back to back, because this film honestly uses 40 minutes of footage from the original film. It's mainly used as flashbacks as Ricky is talking to the psychiatrist. I found out that the filmmakers were paid so little to make Part 2, and they were told to just re-edit the first film and pass it off as a sequel. But director Lee Harry said that he demanded a new film be shot, even though he didn't have the budget to create an entire new story. The saving grace of Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 is the acting of Eric Freeman, who played Ricky. It's so atrocious that it comes off comedic. It's as if the filmmakers were so pissed off that they got such little budget to work with that they're like, yeah, let's hire this one dude who did one episode of Divorce Court before landing this role. His eyebrows did all of the acting, by the way. Every single word is emphasized by his eyebrows, and it's hilarious. There's an iconic scene in this film that involves Garbage Day. Ricky is going on a maniacal shooting rampage, trying to act tough, walking like the Terminator, and attempting to do some evil laugh. You'll know it when you see it, and it's by far the best part of this movie. The next film in this crazy franchise is Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, Better Watch Out. This was released straight to video in November of 1989. After being shot down by police in part 2, Ricky Caldwell, now played by horror royalty Bill Moseley, is in a coma. Ricky lays in bed like a vegetable and has a transparent dome on his head the doctors put there to repair his damaged skull. This one crazy doctor named Dr. Newberry brings in this clairvoyant girl named Laura, who also happens to be blind, and she attempts to reach out to Ricky mentally by using her powers while he's in a coma. Sounds awesome. Oh man, I didn't even think of this. I'm loving this title even more now. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 3, Better Watch Out. Well, Laura can't watch out for shit because she's blind. I just made the connection. Well, eventually, Ricky wakes up from a coma after being taunted by a drunk Santa and somehow finds his way to Laura's grandmother's house, where Laura is spending Christmas with her brother and her brother's girlfriend. The bumbling zombie shuffling by Bill Moseley as Ricky is by far the best part of this film. And we don't get to see a lot of him. This movie was just mostly filler. We get a police chief, a crazy doctor, a Michael Bolton looking boyfriend, his girlfriend, a blind sister who's psychic, and poor old granny. With some Bill Moseley, aka Ricky, sprinkled in. What I don't get is how trusting people are of Ricky. The dude looks like a mental patient from outer space, and you're gonna let him in your car when he's hitchhiking? If I'm not stopping for Santa on the side of the road, there is no way in hell I'm stopping for this guy. And how the hell do you get killed by this dude? He walks slower than Michael Myers. If he had you trapped in a corner, you could army crawl past this guy. You could inchworm past this guy. This is so dumb. You could preheat the oven to 450, wait for that to be ready, throw in a baked potato, wait for that to be done, eat it, watch all 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, take a nap, and then leisurely stroll by Ricky and you'd get away. This movie was a little weird compared to the other two, but holy shit, get ready because it's about to get nuclear weird in here. Now we're into the 4th film of this franchise. Thanks for sticking with me, everyone. This one is called Silent Night, Deadly Night, Initiation from 1990. This is the first film in the franchise to abandon the whole Killer Santa theme, which I think is a major bummer because that's just the whole appeal of the franchise. Instead, we have Kim, who is an aspiring journalist working for the LAI. She decides to pursue a story on a local woman who just burst into flames. Yes, human spontaneous combustion. When she goes around asking questions, she runs into FEMA, a used bookstore owner that happens to have her store in the same building where the woman burst into flames. We come to find out that FEMA is the leader of some goddess-worshipping witch cult thing. And let's just say she recruits Kim to be a part of her coven whether she likes it or not. This movie was almost unbearable to watch, and in fact, I'm just gonna take a pull off of this right now to help me forget. Apart from all the cool practical effects that looked something like Hellraiser meets Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, this film just stumbled through the storyline without connecting any dots. Here's how bizarre the film is. I'm gonna read for you a scene that was written on the film's Wikipedia page. This is something I watched. They perform a ritual on Kim. Ricky and FEMA slice open a live rat over her and insert a giant larva into Kim's vagina. Hang on. It emerges from her mouth as a full-grown giant multi-segmented roach. She vomits the creature out. Ricky slices the creature in half and drips its innards onto Kim's face. Kim wakes up later fully dressed, still in FEMA's apartment. If that doesn't say season's greetings, I don't know what does. Again, the practical effects were cool, but I really couldn't comprehend what the hell was going on. So you might be able to skip this one in the franchise, I'm just saying. Now let's move on to the 5th film of this franchise, another story that has nothing to do with the Killer Santa theme, a standalone story called Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, The Toy Maker from 1991. In this movie, we have a young boy named Derek who witnesses his father being killed by a toy after he opens a suspicious Christmas gift that was left on their doorstep. Meanwhile, we have a toy maker named Joe Petto. Get it? Joe Petto, like Geppetto from Pinocchio? Very clever. Now, Joe Petto, played by Mickey Rooney, starts making some questionable toys in his shop that may or may not be designed to harm children. We also have a suspicious man that is creeping around the toy shop as well as Derek's house. So who's the real threat here? I guess you'll have to watch and find out. Now, this film wasn't too bad. I'd say it's more of a mystery than a slasher, but it also has one of the more bigger twists of the franchise. A very messed up and bizarre twist, but where we've gotten now in the franchise, nothing surprises me. Now, there were some fun scenes in part 5. I won't give too much away, but in one particular scene, there's a couple about to get it on in the bedroom, and they're just so rudely interrupted by a group of killer toys. And not the fun toys either. It's like Small Soldiers meets Toy Story meets Satan. I'll drink to that. Let's drink to Satan. It's funny to see Mickey Rooney as an old, crazy, alcoholic toy maker, but to be honest, that's exactly what he looks like. If you were to hold up a picture of Mickey Rooney from this film and ask me, what does this man look like to you? Crazy old alcoholic toy maker. Nailed it. But honestly, I don't want to hate. This man had a career that spanned 88 years. He was the it guy from the late 30s and early 40s in the golden age of Hollywood. Fun fact, Mickey Rooney wrote a letter of protest against the original Silent Night, Deadly Night film. He said the scum who made it should be run out of town for ruining the sacredness of Christmas. Good call, sadistic toy maker who gets off on harming little boys and girls with your killer toys. So the franchise of Silent Night, Deadly Night pretty much ended with part 5 in 1991. However, in 2012, they released a badass remake that's loosely based on the original film, just titled Silent Night. Now, the plot of this one is very simple. Police in a small Midwestern town are trying to find a killer Santa who's picking off people one by one on Christmas Eve. Cheers. And it couldn't have come at a worse time. There's a Santa festival going on in town, so hundreds of fat dudes in Santa suits are just making it a really hard time for police to find the true killer. One thing I really loved about this killer Santa was his mask. It's a nice change and upgrade from the fresh-faced Billy in the original. This mask rules. It's got old man skin and really dark circles around the eyes, so it makes it look like Santa just crawled out of hell or something. Oh, and did I mention Santa's rocking an axe and a flamethrower? How righteous is that? That says to me, I'm gonna chop off your leg with my axe and then incinerate your body with fire so that nobody will be able to identify your crispy ass. Another thing that's great about Santa is that he kills the most insufferable people in this movie. These victims deserve it, which makes it much more fun to watch their demise. Most of these kills are just brutal. There's a couple suspenseful scenes in this movie too that were really awesome. It isn't just a kill fest. Santa likes to toy with his victims too. In one particular scene, someone is trying to hide from Santa, which we all know you can't hide from Santa. And it looks like something out of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake from 2006. There's eerie red lighting, Santa's in a hallway, slowly walking toward where his victim is hiding, dragging his axe against the wall, and I'm sure you can probably guess what happens next. There's also a good twist at the end of this one that I didn't see coming. I would have to say this is probably one of my most favorite films of the franchise, with the original Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984 by far being my favorite. So there you have it. As you can see, Christmas is the most scariest time of the year, and Silent Night, Deadly Night is one of the most strangest franchises ever. If you have some downtime during the holidays, I really suggest you check out this franchise. You can probably skip 4 and 5, but definitely watch 1, 2, 3, and the remake. You know what, hell, just watch them all. Just watch them all. Support horror, right? And this marks my last video of 2019. It's been one hell of a year, but I promise you in 2020, I'm going to be bringing you a lot more horror-based content, and I'm really excited about it. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. You don't want to miss this. And let's be friends to the end, people. You know you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Horror Hack. Once again, my name is Johnny. Keep supporting horror. I'll see you in 2020. And this has been one hack of a show.